Welcome everyone. My name is Liz McCausland, as Katie said, and I hope to give you some tips for some apps that can help you run your practices and make your practices more productive. And so as we get started, I know I only have a little bit of time. I hope to save some time at the end for any questions, or if you wish to ask more involved questions, you're always able to do that by emailing me after, because whatever I know, I like to share, and I always like to learn from other people. So if you find a better way of doing something, or if you have something that you rely on that I don't cover, please feel free to let me know so that I can spread the word on those. So today we're going to be talking about apps for a productive law firm, and why do we want to be productive? I mean, we're all looking to make more time for ourselves, make money, have less work in doing that because we want balance in our lives, and of course we want to give excellent service to our clients. So these apps will hopefully help you do that, or at least help you start thinking about how you can do that in your specific area of practice. A little bit about me: I do bankruptcy, but I also mediate, and I also am part of another business where I kind of help other firms automate their practices, etc. So I've come along by most of these apps through trial and error. There's not a definite one app that works for everyone. So it's really personalized to how you like to do things, how your brain works, how you run your practice. Are you more of an Android or an iOS Apple user? How does your brain work, and even in those functions? And so we're going to go over a couple of apps, or a bunch of apps, and get the information that you need from them, and then see what works for you. What is a productivity app? So that is a tool that makes you obviously more productive, that helps you organize your tasks and projects more efficiently, maybe helps you communicate with your team so that there's nothing that falls through the cracks. Everything gets done, nothing gets missed. And so that you have a way to go back and look and see what was done. Let's say you got a call from your potential client, and you want to know where they are in the stage because they've dealt with other people in your firm. So the common denominator in all these apps that we're going to go over is that they empower you to get more done in less time. And so we're first going to talk about task management apps. One of the biggest things in any law practice are all the different little things you have to do, not just to run your practice, but also to train staff, to work your cases. And your cases can be in various stages of the case. So it could be a new client, could be going to trial. So these task management apps that I'm suggesting here will hopefully allow you to do just that. And what I look for in any kind of program or app that I use is, does it talk to those around it? And what I mean by that is, I have not found that one perfect app that does everything I want it to do as I want it to do it. So many times you can get a little piece of this app that works for you, and then a little piece of this one. And if they talk to each other, then you have a system that works better for you. So I use Todoist a lot. Todoist is the one right over here. And that one for me is one that I put to-dos on. And the reason I do that, and I should have turned the microphone off on her, but I have a Alexa, and she just turned on because I said that. So I'm sorry. But I have an Amazon appliance, and when I'm sitting in bed at night and I don't know, if I've done this, or I want to remind myself in the morning, I will just tell her to put this task on my Todoist list, and then it goes into an inbox that I can then filter to different places. So I can ask someone else in my firm to do it. I can put it on a different to-do list. I can integrate it with other apps. And so I like it for that reason, because it doesn't require me necessarily to write down my to-do. I can speak it. And so it's very convenient when you're getting ready in the morning and you're thinking about all the things in the day ahead to just say it. So that's one reason I like it. There's some others, Legal Boards, which is obviously who sponsored this. I like how it works. This is how my brain works in terms of a workflow. So it's got the general workflow on here in a Kanban board. And so everything flows back and forth through it. And that's what I love about it. I also like this type of board because it's great for training or onboarding employees. So if you think about it, one of the biggest time sucks when you're busy is trying to train someone else and get them up to speed. So you can have different boards. So as you see, there's the columns, and you can have a column for this is all of the paperwork that you need to get done. All of the onboarding. This is our policies for vacation. These are our employees. Different things that you can just do it once and then provide that person access in your firm access. And then from there, everything can become automated. You basically set it up once and use it over and over. There are other apps that do these things. So I know a lot of firms use OmniFocus if they are Mac only, and I don't practice in the Mac world, but OmniFocus does a lot of things like that. So there's various task management apps that can do that. And again, it's just a central place to put all of your to-dos so that you don't have that slip of paper at the office when you're at home, and so that you don't have to pass it on or email someone what to do, because you can easily assign it to another person. Now, there's a lot of note-taking apps. We take notes as lawyers in our initial consultations and our depots, etc. There are a lot to choose from. And really, again, this is a matter of preference. So I have found I use my iPad for my note-taking. And for a long time, I did not, because it didn't feel it just didn't feel right. It was too slippery. I felt like my handwriting was weird. But my world changed when I got the paper field screensaver for my iPad. They have it for all different notebooks and things like that. So it's not iPad specific. And it just gives you that feel of writing on paper. And it's, for some reason, it made all the difference for me. Now, I also take notes in my Apple Notes on my phone, because that's also convenient and you can dictate it in there. But I use primarily OneNote. I keep a digital planner in there. I take notes in there. I can then forward it on to clients, into the client files. Now, Notability is one that has a recording capability as you take notes. So you can actually go back to your note and listen to what was being said at that time. So that's very convenient as well. I just haven't found in my practice that I've used Notability, but that might be good for someone, if you have a client conference and you want to make sure that you understood everything, or if you're attending a CLE and you're permitted to record. So things like that, but there are so many good ways. And then of course there's Evernote, which is a standard. I still have Evernote. There is a bit of a learning curve to Evernote. And so I would recommend that if you decide to do it, just know that you're going to have to approach that curve for a little while, but it's a great way to keep documents and you can find everything. I read an article recently that I don't know what it wasn't baby boomers, but whatever, Generation Z or whatever, they don't keep folders anymore. And say in their Word, they don't keep documents in folders. They just have, PDFs all over because they can do a word search. Evernote works in that way. You can keep folders, or you can just put tags and find things super easy that way. And I find that I put all my insurance, anything that I want to find easily later in there. And there's a lot of integrations with Evernote as well. So what I mean by that is you can put an extension in your browser. You find an article or a recipe that you want, to clip for later. You can just clip it on the Evernote clipper, and it goes into Evernote, and then you can use it to post in your social media or whatever it is that you need that information for. Duet is another great app, and it used to be free. We'll talk about how I got it for free in a bit, but it just allows you to use an iPad as a second screen. So if you're like me and you're much more productive with more than one screen, this app allows you to do it. Now, this is an old picture. It's my old laptop, my old iPad, but I still use it. So for travel especially, using this will help keep you productive, especially if you're working from home or like I said, from anywhere else. And they also have it now. This was when it was corded. They also have it now where it just works without a hardwired cord between the two. Text replacement or text expander is the name of this app, text expander, and it is probably the app that I use the most. The reason for it is easy text replacement. So, you know, we all have this on our iPhones. If on the keyboards, you can set up little shortcuts. So if I type LMC, it'll type Liz McCausland, this mediation call. So if someone calls while I'm in a mediation, a whole paragraph pops out about why, where I am and why I can't answer the phone, and how they can get help. And of course, this one's already set, I think, in all of our phones, on my way. But text expander takes it to another level. And you can put your signature, your e-signature, anything. You can put paragraphs in, complaints. Think of it as word parts in Microsoft Word, except for the differences when you set it up, word parts in Microsoft, you have to set it up on every computer. And with Text Expander, it works on all platforms. So it works on your work desktop. It'll work if you're assistant, if you have like an account that you put everyone else in your firm on. It'll keep you uniform, and it will also work remotely on your phone or on your iPad. And so you just need to set it up one time and then sign in, and it's really convenient. I would highly recommend it for anyone who, this is literally the app I use the most. And then next are collaboration apps. So a lot of us, I think, are familiar maybe with Slack, but there's also Discord. And what these do, there's Microsoft Teams, I know now, is it gives projects a dedicated channel, not endless, you know, email chains where you're trying to go back and find, you know, who said what, where is that attachment. In these products, you can create certain channels. So you can create a channel for each client. You can create a channel for each project or whatever it is that you're even doing with people outside of your organization. So if you're doing something for legal aid and you're doing a gala, you know, you can have not just the gala channel overall, but the subsections with catering and this and that. And that way it just streamlines all of your communications. And it's been really great, especially in communicating with other lawyers across the country in my practice area. VPNs, these are for anonymous browsing and downloads. And this is something you really should always have if you are working outside of the office, if you're working on public Wi-Fi, and even if you're not working on public Wi-Fi, what they help you do is they help you browse without the websites or anyone else who may be trying to get your information finding out your information. And so if you've ever Googled a pair of shoes or something on the internet on your phone, and then all of a sudden on Facebook you're getting all of these ads, these VPNs will stop that from happening. And you'll see a lot of times when you have it turned on and you go to a website, it will say that, you know, you've got it on and they'd like you to turn it off, but most websites will have a bypass on that because really they want to get your information, and these don't allow them to do it. But it also, more importantly, protects your login information and any client information that you're accessing. Scheduling is a big thing for most firms, not just scheduling potential clients, but scheduling meetings, whether they be with other lawyers or in organizations that you're on, conference calls with clients, and also scheduling just hearings, mediations, etc. So I use Acuity for my clients to schedule. Acuity is just one of many platforms we'll talk about, and it integrated with my Facebook page. It's on my electronic business card, which we'll also talk about. You can also do a doodle poll, like if you have a big group of people that you need to meet with, you put out potential dates and each one of them responds with just a little check mark with what date they're available for, and then you can schedule it on the time when most people are available. And then Need to Meet is an Outlook plugin. It integrates with your Outlook. Same concept though, or you could use Fancy Hands. Now, Fancy Hands is a third party, and you can communicate with them by email, text, call, through the app, etc. And I use them. 3 20-minute blocks cost $17.99. I use them. I think I'm going to go over it a bit. Let me just skip ahead to that, and I'll come back. So here we go. So Fancy Hands, I use them to coordinate and make appointments for me. I use them more personally because what is it about? It's about freeing up your time so that you can either work more in your business or you can spend more time with those you love. And so Fancy Hands will do research for me, like if I'd ask them to buy a gift for a client or a thank you gift for a referral, I tell them what I'm looking for. In this case, it was a client who got a new kitten and I wanted something for him. I also have them research. I have them look at travel information. If I'm going to a city for a conference, I ask them for recommendations for restaurants around the area. If I find one, I then ask them to make the reservation. And then they can also do things like book flights for you if you give them the permission to do that in terms of credit card access. So there's a lot of things that a virtual assistant can do for you. This is just one of them. There are other virtual assistant companies. I've listed some of them right here, ClearDesk and Wing, and some of them you just pay a flat fee to. But what I found is for some of these things, like creating a spreadsheet or creating a fillable PDF, it's actually cheaper for me to have them do it and use my assistant who I'm able to bill for in other ways. So virtual assistants and the apps that work with those companies are very, very useful, especially for a solo small firmer. Now, we talked a little bit about Acuity. Some other ones that are automated scheduling are Calendly and Visita. Both of them are great. This is my scheduling that I get through Acuity. And so whenever a client calls, I will tell them, I'm going to send you my link, and then you can pick out a time to meet with me that is convenient to you. When they go to the page, what they see is choices on the types of appointments that they can make. I do free consultations, and so this will allow the free consultation to be set. It also collects all of their contact information, which then integrates with Clio, which is my case management software. And so it integrates with Clio, and at that point, everything is, they're in there if I want to do a conflict check in the future. And also it sends out text messages to remind them of the appointment at the times that I've set. I also have, which you don't see here, my mediation set up in there. And so it will say if you want to schedule a 3-hour mediation, and then Acuity knows to give me a buffer on the front end and the back end of that mediation to make sure that we've got plenty of time. Boomerang is another suggested app that you can use. Boomerang has a lot of features. Some of them, like delay delivery, are very useful, especially if you don't want to email your client late at night, because then you know they're going to get back with you late at night and probably expect a response. So you type that email to go out early, first thing in the morning. It's great if you work at a firm and you want your firm to think you're working at all hours, to have it go out early in the morning. I use delay delivery when I do mediations because I will follow up, on those mediations, but I'll go ahead and type it after the mediation and schedule it when I want to be sent out so that I don't have to remember what it is I wanted to follow up on. But Boomerang also has a scheduling component. And the only thing I don't like about this is it doesn't work with multiple parties. It's only a one-party platform. So if you just want to set a lunch meeting or a quick meeting with one person, this is a great source. And also it works, like I said, it has so many other features. We've already talked about Fancy Hands. What I want to talk about next is what Fancy Hands gives me is low overhead. And so I love that when you're a solo small firm, you have to think about that. That is really the secret to being successful. So some things that do it is outsourcing that helps you keep those costs down. Is outsourcing. We talked about fancy hands. Like I said, I use it a lot personally because it frees me up to work on my business. But there's also others. There's Thumbtack, Fiverr. What I like about Thumbtack and Fiverr, so Thumbtack is for professional services. Some lawyers actually advertise on there, but what I like about it is if I need any kind of, I've used it for everything. I've had them change a lock in my office. I've had them mount a TV in the wall in my office. You just go on there and you look for whatever service it is. Like right now, this time of year, you can get someone to hang your Christmas lights. But they also do graphic design and anything that you need, t-shirts printed. Fiverr is different in that it started out as whatever anyone would do for $5, and that was anything. I mean, I got these coasters down here. When I was vice president of my local bar association, at that time I wanted to go around and meet with each chair. So we'd meet for either coffee or drinks, and I would put this little coaster down under their drink. On the back was my some more information, and the graphic was, I paid $5 for someone to design the graphic, and then I sent it out for printing at a printer that they suggested that they had created the graphics to fit on any coaster. So Fiverr will also do voicemails, we'll do happy birthday in anyone's voice, we'll do caricatures. I had some cards made that were caricatures that I sent out to people. So it really is a great marketing resource for you at a very reasonable cost. Now, not everything is $5 anymore. There are like add-ons that will usually increase the price, but they are great, and you can think about them for logos and flyer designs or anything else. Dragon dictation, or the dictation that's built into Word, also is great, because I don't know how many of you still dictate, but it's great if you want to just get that quick letter out and you don't have to burden any other staff or anyone else with it. The next one that I want to talk about are focus. It is really hard to focus, especially when you've got so many irons in the fire. And so I like to use different apps to help me with that. Now, I added the iOS 15 because today, not today, a couple weeks ago, Apple released iOS 15, and it does have a focus function. And I know that Android phones, I can't speak, sorry, Android phones have the same function, but you can create different profiles. So let's say you want to have a profile of while you're working, you don't want to get text messages or calls. And so I should have turned on my my profile for when I gave a presentation, because as you can hear, I was getting a call and it wouldn't have let that call through. Instead, I've got it on my work profile right now, and that one just allows certain calls and certain text messages to go through. But it's all about keeping all of those distractions out. Some other things that help you do that, Focus Keeper is like a Pomodoro timer, where you can set it to like, let's say, work 50 minutes and then give yourself a 10-minute break, and just do that several times through the day. And that's, again, the Focus Keeper. This one right here, which was, oh goodness, I apologize, I can't think of the name right now on this one, but you can see it's got these timers, and it will block you from using your phone or your iPad and keep all those messages from popping up. And so the benefit of that is, after you finish the prescribed time that you've set, you plant a tree. So it's a visual gamification of focus, and it also keeps you from maybe getting distracted. Freedom does the same. You can tell what notifications on your computer or on your phone you want to come up. Brain FM is just it's like a radio station with ambient sounds that also have supposedly some sounds that help you focus, some brain waves that help you focus. And that is not free, but they do have like a podcast and a Spotify station that you can try out. And rescue time is another way of trying to kind of focus, and it also looks at what you did to try to help you capture time. Automation, as I've mentioned, is something that is pretty big to me because it helps us duplicate our time. It helps us save on all those little things that we do throughout the day that maybe could fall through the cracks if you've got too much going on, or just takes those little bits of seconds or time away from you and keeps you from other things. So there's a couple of automations that I use. IFTTT is if this then that, and there's also Zapier. So if this then that has these different recipes, I guess we'll call them. I think that's what they call them too. And you can go in and build your own, which is very simple, believe it or not, or you can go in and see what other people have. So I have a number of them set. So for instance, if I screenshot anything on my phone or my iPad, it goes to a separate album that's called screenshots. So if I am looking for something and I want to narrow it down, it's saved in that album. This one right here, turn your hue lights on when you get close to home. When I am within a mile of my home, my lights in my home will turn on. That way, if there's any burglars or anything in there, they will get out and I will walk into a home that is automatically illuminated. I can set my air from bed in the middle of the night when I'm hot with using my Amazon device, I'll call her, so she doesn't turn on. And then there's things like, saving your Facebook photos. If anyone tags you so that, if it's a photo you like, it'll automatically get saved. And these are all personal things. Oh, this is the one, oops, sorry. I lost it, there we go. So here where you can't see, this is how I got Duet for free. There's a notification that I have set that if a paid app goes on special for being free, then it notifies me. And so I will get a notification, and that's how I got Duet for free. I've also gotten court rules that way. There's a lot that you don't know about that this little notification has introduced me to. Now, Zapier is not an app. In other words, there's not something you can download from the App Store or the Google Store onto your phone, but it is an integration that allows two different programs to talk to each other. And so with legal boards, it is one of the programs. There's over, I think it's over 2,000, maybe even more. I think there's much more. I just can't remember the number, I apologize. Apps that integrate with each other. So again, that just lets them talk to each other. So as I mentioned, my Acuity, whenever anyone schedules with me, the information from Acuity gets sent to Clio. That gets sent through a Zap. That's what they call their tasks, their automated tasks. That gets sent through a Zap to Clio. Legal Boards has several. They're one of the programs that is listed on Zapier. So if you have two programs that you would like to talk to each other, or if that happens and you want this to happen. So I know one firm that has, when we open a new file, a new client file, then automatically in Word, that new client file is opened and all these subfolders are added. So that little bit of time it takes someone in your office to set up the file and then all the subfolders in Word, that's immediately and automatically done using Zap. So look at it, type in the programs that you use the most and see how you can get them to talk to each other and what other people, because you can see other people's apps, how other people are using it, and maybe you'll find something that'll save that little bit of time for you. Other automations that I have, like I said, I use Todoist, and that automatically goes on talks to another program that I have, and then I'm able to farm out the different tasks in my office and follow up on them because I can see who I assign things to. And then I've got an Amazon automatic delivery. So those little things that we always have to think about: toilet paper for home, paper towels for the office, paper for the office, Air filters. I have my air filters coming. I buy them by packages of 4, so every 4 months a new one arrives at my house, and I know, that's it's time to buy new ones because I've used all of them. And then also other things that I automate. I automate the batteries that come for my smoke alarm. We're supposed to change those every 6 months, right? So every 6 months I have new batteries that come to remind me that that's time to do that. But anything that you can automate by Amazon, just to get that little bit of information out of your head and declutter your head so that you can focus on the things that you need to focus on. Loom is another program that I use, and this one is video recordings, and they're short video recordings. So as you can see, it will record my screen and my little face right here, and you can keep these, and where I use them for is to train not only staff that have come to work with me in the past, but virtual staff on what I need them to do. I did a short video for clients or for people who were using me as mediators on how to use Zoom, how to mute and unmute themselves, etc. I have done it to make introductions to other people, especially during this time of COVID where we were all virtual. And so anything that you can record either yourself or you want to record your screen because you're trying to teach someone, say, how to use your case management, you can create a Loom. Now, Loom has a free product, a free platform, and then a paid platform. So it just depends how many videos you want to make. And if you want this little function where you can take your pointer and make this little circle come around, that you can do without Loom, but it does have that ability in the paid function. But it's a great program. I want you to think about it about training staff, because that's where it saves you the most time and money. You train somebody once, and then they can watch it as many times, so they don't have to ask you a question, and they don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't understand what they were saying. They can always go back to the video. Another app that I use is an electronic business card. Now, there's so many of them out there. I happen to use Link, and Link does a number of things. So you can either buy a physical card, or you can buy this little dot that you can stick anywhere, or you can put in my Apple Wallet, but on your phone, the card, and have a little code that QC code that they can scan. Now, these two products, they just need to tap their phone by. So think about if you're giving a consultation and someone wants to take a business card, just tell them to tap their phone on that. It'll automatically pull up what looks like a website, which is actually easier to set up than a website. And you can have your photo. Here's where my Acuity is set up, so they can schedule. Or I'm sorry, this is my Acuity, the scheduling the appointment. This contact me, we'll let them call me. This is where they download all of your information. You've got links, so you can put links to your website, links to any other things you want them to see. I happen to be on the board of the Solo Small Firm section of the Florida Bar, so if they're interested in some of those resources, I've got that on there. It's just a great, and then of course they can connect with you on any of your social media. And then this, I don't have it on today because I don't have a virtual background today. You're welcome to see my craft room. But this right here is a virtual background that when I've given presentations, I allow this virtual background because anyone can then scan it and have my information and contact me later. So Link is free unless you want some of the upgrades. So for me, the upgrade for me I wanted was the schedule an appointment to have that integration with Acuity. But if you just want contact, you don't need to do that. It is free. And again, the cards, these things cost. That's where the cost comes in if you want one of those. But if you just want a virtual card on your phone, this is a great one. And then the other thing about it is I have one for each business that I'm a part of. So my law firm, Law Tech Partners, which is the other business I work for, and then one personally. So depending on who I'm meeting and how I want to connect with them, I can show them a different business card. And obviously my personal one will have my personal Facebook and my personal information on it. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, we still have time. So I want to talk to you about a few more. Timeline 3D is a great app because it, especially in today's Zoom hearing world, but not just that, any kind of presentation you have to give where you are trying to set a timeline forth for people, this is a great one because it's a very visual. It's easy, drag and drop in there. And so I'm thinking for trial lawyers, for mediations, for anything where you might need to do this type of presentation, it's great. It's very low cost. And then the next one that we're going to talk about is virtual trial and depot presentations with iTrial. iTrial is one of many. TrialPad might be another one that you might hear of. But I love this app because I think, number one, it's easy to use. It keeps everything you need for either your hearing or your trial or your mediation or your depot in one place. It allows you to, as you can see, pull things out like of a contract, highlight them. You can then save it for, as the attachment to the depot, et cetera, along with what's been highlighted. You can do timelines. You can do so many things with this, and I can't even touch on all of it. But what I might suggest, if you are interested in this app, there's a gentleman on YouTube called Apps and Law. He's phenomenal. He goes over this iTrial with great detail. And I think it's last I checked, I think it was $99 a year for this product, and it saves you so much. I mean, when I used to do trials, we used to have to get those big boards blown up, and you don't need that now. And so it's very cost effective, not just for you, but for your client. Grammarly is another one. I like Grammarly because it's an add-on keyboard and it can correct spelling and grammar mistakes. Now, Grammarly on the computer works almost better. Actually, it does work better, but there's also a keyboard. So Grammarly will go through, you tell it, are you looking for a formal document or a casual letter? You tell it what your intended audience or voice is, and then it goes through and corrects your grammar and makes suggestions. And so, like I said, you can also use it as a keyboard. So we've all got, different keyboards on our phone, Bitmoji or whatever. You just would add the Grammarly keyboard. So if you do a lot on your iPad or your phone, then you might want to add this, and it might help you make sure that whatever goes out on those devices are correct. I use these, I've used both of them, but mostly I use Punk Post. These are just thank you notes, and I like Punk Post. It takes a little bit more time. What I like about it is this personal touch. So this is an actual card I sent to someone, and it was just a congratulations, but look at the detail. When you get that card in the mail, I mean, you're passing through and it's all typewritten addresses, et cetera. When you get that handwritten address, you know that's the first card you open. So that's why I like Punk Post. You just type in, you tell them what kind of voice you're looking for. Mine was congratulatory, and I wanted this type of writing. And then you just type in the message, and an artist creates this card. I almost felt guilty because for a while people thought I was doing it myself, and I had to come clean that it absolutely wasn't me, but I just think it's great. Touch Notes is super easy. This is a actual postcard that was sent out at one point. It's a photo of 3 people that I ran into. It got printed off as a postcard, and my message was on the back. And so it was done in the parking lot after catching up with them. So it's a great way to keep your name in front of people, which is, as we know, marketing. I want to tell you about SetApp, because I know I'm running out of time, sorry. So it's like Netflix for apps. So you pay one price and you get to choose the apps that you want to use for that one price. So look at it. There's a lot that maybe you haven't heard of, but they do what you need. And so if you're like me and all these subscription costs keep adding up, check out SetApp. And that's it. I hopefully got through all of it. I'm not sure if you have questions, but if you do have questions that we can't get to today, please feel free to reach out to me. I am not bashful about sharing what has worked for me, what hasn't, and why. But my goal, and what I think your goal is probably to just buy more time, do the best job that I can for my clients, and then be able to be off work and know that everything was done so that my mind is at ease and I can enjoy myself. So I'm happy to share that with you. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take those now. Otherwise, I'll hopefully have given you some more information.